forward. Joining me this morning is an August panel, Gourav Vallabh of the BJP man, and he is also a part-time member of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council. And Gourav Vallabh ji, I want to ask you, many are talking about the fact that while growth is robust and in the context of the geopolitical situation, we are doing better than many of the neighboring economies and the fast-growing bigger countries. The fact of the matter is private investment not picking up is a huge worry, number one. Number two, elections that we have every now and then, which really gets down to how we can woo voters, taking away a lot of the fiscal discipline at the state level, at the center level. And number three, there is always this conversation of high net worth individuals leaving the country. How do you respond to some of these three issues that need to be addressed, probably in this budget?
Yes. See, Narika ji, all 3 points which you had raised are interlinked and interconnected to each other. And I will give you one by one response to all the 3 points. Number one, you asked about the private investment. It's correct that government's capex is in the last budget announced was 11,21,000 crores. But in the same way, the private sector capex is not growing up. It's growing. It's not deaccelerating. It's going up, but it is not at the same pace. Just to give you one data to understand this, that in 2014 the public capex in the budget by the government of India was somewhere around 4 lakh crore, and last year we had 11.21 lakh crore, 11,21,000 crore. So the same growth is not there in the private capex. There are 3 reasons, and I was listening to the members in your panel. One of the reasons pointed out by one of the learned panelists is the regulatory environment, the ease of doing business, and the predictability of the laws. So this is an issue on which government is consistently working. Already labor reforms are already initiated by government in the form of the 4 labor codes. The land reforms are in the pipeline. So what I used to say 3L, land, labor and legal reforms. So this is going to improve the private capex, and consistently we are reforming the land, labor and the legal side. In legal side, my focus is on the execution of the contracts and the decriminalization of some of the laws which are there. This is for the point number 1. Point number 2, you asked about freebies and the state of the states in our country. See, I slightly differ with the panelists because I was listening for last 10 minutes. We have 2 kinds or 2 broad categories of freebies. The freebies which are permanent and which doesn't create infrastructure or which doesn't create job, and the freebies which are temporary and which is a hand holding and which creates infrastructure or which creates a job, like G Ramji. So giving 125 days right to every rural family of employment is not freebie as per me, because it creates rural infrastructure. Point number 2, like scholarships in the schools, it's not freebie as per me, because it creates a intellectual capital for the country. But there are certain freebies. I don't want to enter into the political discussion today, but there are certain freebies which are for the political reasons, for the election reasons. So they are not giving the long-lasting impact or the positive impact to the economy. But certain freebies are very much required, like Kisan Samman Nidhi. I don't consider that as a freebie. I consider that as a hand-holding, and it improves the consumption in the rural economy, and that takes the GDP to the next level. Because your primary question was that why Indian economy is growing at 7.4%, whereas the other countries of the world like United States is right now growing at less than 2%, China somewhere around 4%, South Asian economy is somewhere around 5%, but we are growing at 7.4%, and that is the basic reason that our consumption pattern is rotating the economy. When in the last budget, up to 12.75 lakh of income, it was exempted, the consumption got improved. In the GST rate rationalization, when GST of all essential commodities were slashed, the consumption were improved. And just to give you a data, after the income tax deductions and the GST rate rationalization, the total consumption additional in the economy is 5.25 lakh crore. So that is driving the economy. 140 crore people's consumption is taking the economy to the next level, and that is now becoming the core strength of our country. And so when you are going to improve the consumption, then naturally the demand is going to arise. When demand is going to arise, the private investment is going to improve. So private investment in last 4-5 years got down, first of all 2 years because of corona. Then after that it started increasing, but rate was not very encouraging. But now it is going to match the public capex.
Well, that's a hope. That's a hope, Gourav Vallabh ji. But people have been talking about tax terrorism on this panel. The fact that ED, income tax, tax compliances, rather invasive, which is why a lot of businessmen like to operate out of maybe Dubai or somewhere else. HNIs are leaving this country, and that's a truth the government will have to face.
There is no tax terrorism. In fact, the tax laws were oversimplified. The new Income Tax Act is already there. It's oversimplified. If you ask any SSE, a common SSE, that had you received any information from the income tax after filing the return, he will say, yes, we received a SMS that received this, assessment is completed. So that kind of, and after the faceless initiatives in the income tax, there is nothing. And even if somebody wants to do tax terrorism, the policy will not allow you to do that. And coming to the HNIs,
then obviously you are in a country that we are not seeing much about. Anand, I'm coming to you, but I have